Hey guys, this is Donnaleigh. I brought this deck to several meetups, several conventions. It's been a deck I've used as my primary reading deck, and everybody wants to look at it. Let me see that deck. Can I see that deck that you brought with the wildlife? The deck right now runs around $40, the book around $20. They're purchased separately, and I'm going to go through both of these so you know if one or both is appropriate for you. So let's start with the deck itself. So the packaging of this is really beautiful. You've got a really sturdy box with thumb holes here so you can open it up. And when you open it, the inside of the box is printed, "Welcome to the Wild Unknown." You've got a ribbon that will help you remove the cards from the deck. And there's a really nice, this is simple, but it's got a lot of information on here. It's kind of your cheat sheet. So she talks about, this is each of the wands card, but they're each only covered in a few words. So for example, if you were to look at the wands, the ace is inspiration and new beginnings. 2 is determination and willpower. So there's only like 2 key words for each one. Interestingly, these are not the same keywords that are used in the book. The meanings are the same. But if we were to take, for example, the Ace of Wands, inspiration and new beginnings, when we get to the wands, the Ace of Wands, it says expansion and inspiration. And the way it expands in the book, each card has a picture, black and white picture, and each one gets a page here. It's done in her print. It's really nice, sturdy pages though. And it says this is an extremely high energy card. The Ace of Wands indicates new growth is all around you. Your ideas and outlook will expand while creativity seems endless. It goes on, and there's a little bit more here. We'll talk a little bit more about some other meanings, but just to let you know that what you get in here is really expanded on differently in the book and nicely. She talks about each of the major arcana in the same way. So the Fool is innocence and naivete, spontaneity and starting out. The Magician is action and self-empowerment and purpose. And you'll see, so she gives 2 little lines here with 3 or 4 little definitions of each of the majors. When you turn it over, she talks about what's the difference, what is the major arcana, what the element of each suit brings to your readings. So this is really all that comes. There's no little white book. It's this folded paper, but it's very nice and it will help guide you. Pull the cards out. The bottom of the box looks like the backs of the cards. That stays in there, like a card that's glued in. So the backs of the cards are this pen and ink diamond that repeats itself almost like the wood tree, the inside of a tree when you count the years. Interestingly, the artist says in her book that she does not use any rulers or anything. When she makes circles, she does them all freehand. So apparently this is done freehand as well. That's quite miraculous to me. But what you see is when you look through each of the cards is an essentially black and white pen and ink, very detailed composition with feathers in the background. You've got a small white border, handwritten at the bottom what it is, and as you can see, the court cards here are not your kings and queens. Instead, you have a family. So there's a daughter, a son, a mother, and a father of each suit. That's your court cards. And then she sprinkles these little surprise color bursts into each card. So we'll take a look at each one of those. I'd like you to be able to see a lot of these. For example, the Daughter of Cups. You can see all the detail with the lines, all done freehand, and you've got this rainbow reflection. Just really stunning, beautiful energy. When you look at this spider, it might be hard to see in this light, but this is all black and white. This is your 8 of Pentacles, and this spider is very carefully building her web, and you can see this is actually red around the edge. I don't know if it really shows up well enough here under this light. Same thing here. We've got the 2 of Swords with a little surprise color here right in between the swords. This is the 9 of Swords, all kinds of worry going on here, but you can see it has a definite effect on your psyche. The Daughter of Swords has colored stars. So let's take a little look through them. Now, first of all, this has the Rider-Waite composition, and the Strength card is 11 and the Justice is 8, so those 2 are switched. Whether it's a major or a minor arcana, you've got Roman numerals throughout each one. Each of them shows the element, so you've got water here, and so even if the picture in the 5 of Cups about sadness doesn't have actual cups in the picture, she makes sure that she adds them up here so you can see which element you're looking at. Here's another one, so the 6 of Cups, and you've got rainbow roots here. Let's take a look at what this means, because we're used to seeing the Six of Cups being two children sharing a gift. So the handout says the Six of Cups is memories in childhood. And this one matches what the poster said, so this one does say the same, memories in childhood, joy. A card of beautiful implications. The Six of Cups focuses on the magic innocence of childhood. The roots of years past are alight with color and vibrancy. Look back upon them, get lost in your memories. Old friends may surface and seek you out. All reunions will be joyful. Enjoy simple pleasures and wonder in all areas of your life. So you can see the images, although she sticks to the Rider-Waite meanings, really go off into this wildlife type essence. Coating is this smooth, buttery, matte finish. Whatever she used for a print or whoever she used, this is absolute perfection. This is probably the nicest cardstock I've ever seen in a card. I mean, I just want to rub it. It's so smooth. And the thickness of it is absolutely perfect. It's a nice sturdy card. They're thicker cards, so you can see it stacks pretty high. So if you were to compare this with, say, a universal weight, the universal weight is just a wee bit smaller. And if you look at how they stack up, same number of 78 cards, because of the thickness, you can see if I put this on top, it extends a little bit past. You've got a nice thick deck here, so it does have a bigger thickness. So there is a difference in height here. In terms of shuffling, because you've got a thicker set of cards, it's going to be harder to bend them. So when you do, you're going to have to really give it a good press. It can be done, but it's a little clumsy. But they'll surely soften with age. I tend to do it hand over hand. There's a lot of simplicity to the pictures, and yet there's at the same time a lot of detail, so there's not a lot of empty space. She used the negative space here nicely for the plant. When you look at the Magician here, you may wonder about what this has to do with a leopard. So let's take a look. If we look at this, the Magician is action, self-empowerment, and purpose. And when we look in the book, the majors are in the back. So self-empowerment and action. The Magician is a card of boundless, expansive energy, whereas many of the major arcana deal with stillness or aspects of the mind. This card is about action, action, action. It's time to see yourself as the wildcat. Embrace his speed, grace, and abilities. Do not be afraid to begin. You have the power of the four elements within your reach, and now is the time to use them. So one thing about this book is she does sometimes make a slight reference to what's in the wildlife picture, but it's very subtle. It's very subtle. So sometimes what you're getting is, if you're familiar with tarot already, you'll see that the meanings are almost the same. Sometimes they don't reference the image at all. But there are times when I found it was really important. This particular one, when you look at the Ten of Swords, and you can see there's a buffalo, and he actually got a sword. It's kind of a difficult picture to look at through his eyes. This is about ruin, rock bottom, and melodrama. When the Ten of Swords appears, you finally hit rock bottom. You've let others walk all over you while you play the victim. Is it possible that you love the backstabbing and the drama too much to move forward without it? If not for drama, what would you focus on? It's time to find out. So she doesn't actually address the buffalo itself. And then there are other times when she does. For example, the Six of Wands. You've got a butterfly that comes out, and in the card itself, it's actually quite bright. So in the actual card, you've got this gorgeous blue butterfly. And here she mentions the Six of Wands, which we're used to seeing as a victory card, the man and a horse, so the imagery is quite different. But you'll see the meaning is the same. Victory, success, rising up. From the dark and entangled branches emerges a butterfly, new life taking flight. If you're not reveling in the joy of success already, you will be soon. The Six of Wands is a card of victory, of rising up against the odds. The obstacles have been relentless, and you can see those by the sticks, and that's my addition, not hers. But now is not the time to look back upon them. The more pressing question is, where will you go with your new set of wings? So what I would love to have seen, and Kim, if you ever make another book like this, I would be the first to buy it. I would love to know the processes of what was going through your mind when you were making this, kind of like that butterfly rising out of the branches. There are some other cards where it's not mentioned so much, and I was really hungry to hear what processes were going through your mind as you were choosing the emblem and the animals for each of these cards. the depiction of them is absolutely warm and stunning, and yet some are very cold and difficult. Let's talk briefly about the 4 suits, and I've separated the majors here. So you've got your cups, wands, pentacles, and swords. And if you look at the aces, this just has the element. It's the cups, and it looks like there's serpent skin in the back. You've got your wands, very active card. You've got your buds, all kinds of energy exploding from it. You've got your pentacles, which is wood, and sprouts coming out, so this is very earthy. And your swords. Even though we have a snake in the swords card, that's actually almost the whole wand suit has swords in it. This particular suit, being air, is represented by the owls as the mother-daughter. We'll go through each of those. So actually, let's start that now. So in the suit of swords, your daughter of swords, the son of swords, and the mother and father. And when you look in your pentacles, when you get to them, you will see we have our deer. So you've got the daughter, the rainbow, the sun or the moon, the mother. This is actually colored in the back with green. It's a little hard to see under this light, and she has the fawn at her side. And the father. When we look at the cups cards, we are now looking at beautiful birds. So the daughter, the son gets older, the cygnet, the baby swan, the mother with the stars in the back, and the father, a black swan. Taking a fast look through the wands, you'll see that there's a very minor imagery, very basic. So when you look at the 2 of wands, when you look at focus, they are really just focusing. The 3 is now they're tied together in their substance, starting to create. 4 of wands is completion and celebration. The 5 of wands, lots of chaos here, conflict, competition. They're all moving against each other. But you can see it's very minimalist. This is quite a minimalist pip deck. There's your 6 that we were looking at before, the victory, coming out of chaos. The 7 of wands, courage against all odds, lighting as fire. The 8, so this is where we're used to seeing wands flying through the air. Now we have a bolt of lightning coming down, and this is news, change, and action. The 9 of wands, inner strength, stamina, having to go up those steps one at a time to complete. 10, burden, the hard road. I was getting this one a lot, trying to get through the fog to the other side. Very dark, hard to get through. That's a tough card. 10 of wands. We're used to seeing this is the man with the wands on his back. So this is really tough going, this one. And then, of course, we've got our core cards. We've got the daughter snake with the wands, the son of wands, the mother protecting her eggs with her stick, and the father with his lightning bolt protecting. Going through the swords, the most difficult suit in the deck. We'll look quickly. We've got our 2 of swords here, so that's about blocked vision and a stalemate. 3 of swords, instead of the heart, we've got betrayal and heartbreak. They're bound together. Isn't that interesting? And it looks like they're bleeding down here. And you'll notice in the background, each of these has pretty detailed background. The 4 of swords is about rest. The 5, it sounds like this is a self-destructive, self-mutilation type card. Hope. After all that, we've got our hope and travel. 7 of swords is our trickster, secrecy, and she says self-interest. 8 of swords, this is usually with the person being kind of bound in the swords. This here we have, it's bound by being poked at, but look, she's going to come out anyway. So when we look at the 8 of swords, she says this is about feeling trapped or powerless, but you know what's going to happen there. The 9 of swords, nightmares, anguish, and our 10 of swords that we saw earlier with the buffalo. Then we got into our court. So the daughter, the son, the mother, and the father. Our lovers will absolutely adore this. 4 different species of pentacles, very earthy. So we've got our wood, our 2 of pentacles. We're used to seeing the juggling. There it is right there in the butterfly. Our splash of color. 3 of pentacles, teamwork and determination. 4 of pentacles, possession and control. Look how they're all bound together. Sad 5 of pentacles, sadness, illness. Six of Pentacles, prosperity and growth. Now the Seven of Pentacles, which this almost looks to me like the Seven of Pentacles, but this is building, 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 building very slowly. So it's contemplation and reward. There's our Eight of Pentacles with our spider. Nine of Pentacles, happy, healthy home. We're used to the woman holding the bird, and we've got our feathers here to kind of represent that little bird, securing what's in the middle here. And the Ten of Pentacles with lots of rainbows, fulfillment. And there's our daughter, our son, mother, and lastly we'll take a look at our cup suit. Ace, with our snake skin. Two of Cups, isn't that beautiful? Three of Cups, absolutely love this as they party together. Friendship and support. The Four of Cups, this was a hard one for me to remember. This is the one with the hand usually coming out of the cloud with the cup. She says this one has to do with selfishness and greed. So if you look into the book for the Four of Cups, greed, discontent, she says an outsider would look upon your life and see supportive relationships, pleasures, or even a bit of luxury, but you don't see it that way. Instead, there's discontentment, apathy, and even greed for more. That's where she gets it. So the Four of Cups warns not to take your situation for granted, nor the people who supported you along the way. Look around you. What are you truly longing for? Name it. And you can see that makes a big difference between this right here, the Four of Cups, which is just selfishness and greed. Five of Cups of sadness and loss. The horse, really, really beautiful imagery. Six of Cups, as we talked about. And the Seven of Cups, illusions and deceptions. Look at, they're all upside down too. Eight of Cups, the Nine of Cups, about wish come true. And the Ten of Cups, where everything is kind of bound together, the web of life, harmony and joy. And of course we have our swans. But you can see just by looking at the imagery, you can go into a deeper, simpler place when you're doing your own readings. Lastly, the majors are really worth a good look here. We got our Fool. He's ready, his first day out, standing on the branch, innocent. He doesn't even know it's coming. Our Magician is the Wildcat. The High Priestess here is really gorgeous. We've got mystery and non-action. This is a card about stillness, going within. And if you can see, her crystal ball has lots of color. This is one of my favorite cards. There's one more. I'll show you the Hermit. The Empress. They are both trees, Empress and Emperor. The Hierophant. Stunning crow here, and he's telling his stuff. The Hierophant, she says, is a mentor or working within the system. The Lovers. They mate for life. The Chariot. Moving, and look at the pentacle around the neck. And the Moon. Justice, black and white. Which will you choose for balance? That's our card number 8. The Hermit, my absolute favorite card in the deck, where she says usually it's seen as something negative in our society, but this is actually something very positive. The Wheel of Fortune. We've got a gorgeous wheel here with an owl in the background. Strength card. It's going to knock your socks off. He's got a gorgeous rose and the infinity sign, some color splashed here in the sun. Hanged Man is a bat. Nice red eyes. It's about sacrifice and letting go and new perspectives. The Death card. Really rich imagery here. Lots and lots of detail with bone. Temperance. We've got our Heron. The Devil is represented by a goat and his hooves. And again, this is referenced only a little bit in the book about his hoofs staying in one place from addiction. They're kind of bound here by the fire. But she doesn't mention about purposes of having chosen that. The Tower is a tree with lightning. Beautiful star. Lots of detail. The Moon. Gorgeous bright sun with the birds in the corners. Judgment. Got a gorgeous bird up top and lots flying up to him, rising up. And the World. Completion. So really, really nice deck. I can't say enough about the depth of the readings. If you really sit with these cards, you will learn a lot about yourself. The guidebook here, just to let you know, she talks about her experience drawing it. She talks about how to understand the deck, the major versus the minor arcana, so she expands on what she wrote on the poster. Each of the suits that describes swords, pentacles. The court cards are mentioned and how the court family comes into play in each of the suits. And then she talks about giving readings, whether it's getting, and she talks about how to do a card a day. She also talks a little bit about a little 3-card spread you can do, how to get started, the Celtic cross. And then she gets right into each of the cards and gives each card, she dedicates a page to each one. Just a short paragraph for most of them, but it gives you a little bit of information. So the Daughter of Wands is a visionary and passionate. She's a free spirit, a truly visionary creature. She usually waits until later to settle down or start a family, and she's busy with her career. She can be stubborn and much stronger than she looks. And then it goes so this is a highly recommended deck. What do we have to learn from it? What will it teach us? The star. Great hope, contemplation. And if we look in the book, see where the star brings us in her mind. You gaze up at the stars and sense glimmers of wonder and hope. Even though you can't find concrete answers to life's many questions up there in the sky, you can't help but feel comfortable and renewed. Such is the energy of the star card. So and there we go. That's what this has to bring us. Enjoy it. This is a really nice kit with the two of them together with a nice sturdy box. Whether you get the deck alone or if you get it with the book, they're both good. I think you can do fine without the book, but the book does add a little bit to what you can see in some of the cards if you think they're too minimalist for you. But just keep in mind that it's mostly the basic tarot meanings.